I don't know about you, but lately I've felt this call towards less. This has been like an evolving journey for me over the last couple of years. But more recently, I find myself feeling drained sitting at the computer. I feel myself when I'm overextending the time I spend working, and any time I fall into an old pattern of trying to be productive or spending excess amount of hours working on something, it's like my body just rejects it and I start to feel frustration, I start to feel annoyed, and I just feel like something is off. I believe that everything carries an energetic weight, whether it's subscriptions that we have digitally, whether it is clothes that we just keep because we might wear them sometime, stuff that we've collected along the way that we're never going to use. I remember watching a Netflix show years ago on two guys who were traveling the world talking about minimalism. And when you would enter into one of their homes, they would have one lamp, they would have one table, one sofa, and it was just this really interesting idea of owning less things. Now, I started to adopt this idea more and more when I was in the middle of my travels, and I was living in Europe at the time. And I was going from Europe over to Asia to move to Vietnam. I remember at the time I was living in Europe and I had this massive suitcase because as I was leaving to go to Europe about 2 years previous to that, I had this big suitcase of most of my things that I was bringing with me because I had this sense of attachment to them. But as I was leaning more into this idea of minimalism, I looked at all the things I had in my suitcase and I was really, really feeling like they were just dead weight that I was carrying around with me. And it took a level of discipline for me to say, hey, I'm not going to bring this with me. I'm not going to bring this with me. I ended up packing my big 25 kg suitcase and just shipping it back to Ireland. So I ended up flying to Asia with a suitcase that weighed no more than 7 kgs. And about 5 of that was my computer and equipment that I had at the time. I stripped away all of my clothing and I stripped away all of my excess things that I was just carrying with me. What I find to be the most valuable exercise to do, looking at the things that I have and saying, does this feel like something I want to keep? Does this thing actually give me a sense of, yeah, I want to keep this for a reason. There's some intentionality around it. And the more I've done that, the more I feel lighter, right? And it's a little bit hard to explain. It's like I've dropped energetic weight. And it's the same thing digitally. I've spent the last couple of weeks just removing all of these unnecessary subscriptions and just getting rid of anything within tools that I was using that are just no longer necessary. I've been getting rid of domains and emails and just clearing out all of those different things to kind of detox all of the stuff that we're just carrying around with us, and that's not physical. And then over the last couple of months, what I've done is I've moved into this unfurnished cottage. So right around me now, there's no furniture. There's this table and there's a desk over there. There's another desk in there. There's a whiteboard behind me. And then there's just a bed. Over there is a kitchen. And it just has the basic kitchen things. And it's been such an interesting experience to walk into a place like this and feel the emptiness of it, but then understand that there's like a deeper freedom behind that as well. Because there's no stuff, there's no clutter, there's nothing that doesn't serve a purpose here. And there's something freeing about that. There's like a level of sovereignty that I experience from just being around that. And then right outside, it's just the countryside. It's just nature. I can hear birds singing over that direction and over this direction. And it's this real sense of just peace. There's nothing here that doesn't mean something. And then anything else is just these books that are here, some drawing, and I've also switched all of my work that I would usually do at the computer. I would love using the Miro boards and whiteboards and things like that digitally, and I've now switched it to more of like an analog design where I'm just writing things out. And this is due to a recommendation from a friend of mine who has been doing everything analog, and I feel better in my work. I feel more creative. I feel less drained because I'm not staring at a screen. I'm not consuming the blue light from the screen constantly. And as part of this digital detox, I've also unfollowed everybody from Instagram over the last couple of months. It was something I did back in August, I think. Even that has been a letting go process. When I do the odd time open Instagram, there's nothing on my home feed other than random recommendations I get based on my interests. There's something to this kind of digital detox, this kind of letting go, this satisfaction that comes from less. And the more I've done that, the more I've evolved within my own self. The more I allow less to be part of my life, the more I feel within my own self, the more connected I feel to the things that are around me. I feel like everything that I have and I'm using right now serves a purpose. There's a level of intention with it. And then when I'm paying for something that I have an intention for, there's a sense of connection to that thing that I'm paying for because there's an intention behind it. It's not just a subscription that I paid for and forgot about. And it's like a different relationship to the service, the thing, whatever it may be. So what are some things that you can strip away? What are some things that you can do to let go of something that may be holding a weight that you don't need to carry anymore? Just see how it feels. Maybe try it on. Could be useful. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I'll chat to you again soon. I'm going to do some drawing.